Hello. Today I continue promised week of portable digital to analog converter reviews, and today I've got a small gadget that gathered so many hype. It's E1DA 9038S, so it's a portable digital to analog converter. It's and as this figure can easily hint you, it's built using ES9038 Q2M, so mobile version, or the best, the most current, the most current and the most flagship mobile version of digital to analog converter chip from the ES company. So this tiny device gathered a lot of attention. One of the reasons was because it measures really well. I will add a link to the description to the audio science views with their measurements and analysis based on these measurements, but I'm not such a big fan of measurements. Of course they are important, but they don't substitute actual listening. So I will talk about my subjective opinion and my subjective preference about this device. So it gathered tons of hype. I've got a lot of comments about like it plays better than FIO M11, it plays better than iBasso DX220, it plays as good as Aston Kern Ultima, and so on and so forth. But usually, in such cases I prefer to take the pause and wait a little bit until the hype settled and then I get this gadget and make a review. So I'm not following the hype train. Maybe if I'd release this review like 3 or 4 months ago, actually when this device was released, I'd get more views and so on, but I'm not trying to follow the hype, maybe just sometimes. So today we will talk about it. Price is $80 if I remember right. I've got it from Linsol, 79 probably. I will add link to the description too, and let's have a closer look. Package is small but stylish, so you've got the dimensions, but that's pretty much it. Inside of the box you will have just converter itself, and that's it. So no additional cables, nothing like that. It's a second revision. Luckily I've got a cable made by DD Hi-Fi. So nice USB-C to USB-C cable. Linsol also offers bundle with USB-C cable, but they use some less expensive, more affordable cable, but I like the design of this one, it's really stylish. So in terms of design and in terms of build, it's total simplicity. It's like 10 grams of weight, really small profile. So on the one side there is USB-C connector and small LED indicator, and on the other side it's just 2.5 millimeter out. So please pay close attention. You need to use 4-pole 2.5 millimeter jack. You can't use any adapter to connect 3.5 millimeter jack here. Don't do that unless it's a balanced 3.5 millimeter jack, but it's a really rare option. So basically here you can use 2.5 millimeter or Pentacon using the adapter. You need to avoid short-circuiting the ground lines of this output to avoid the damage of this device. So let's have some digital transport. As usual, it will be FIO M11, or in this case M11 Pro. Connect one end of the cable, and second end to end of the cable we connect here. So it starts blinking, few rapid blinks, and then it boot ups in one of few modes. So this fast blinks actually means what is that mode? If I remember right, it's power mode. So it has different modes available. To change the mode, you need to cut the power when it's booting up. So when it's rapidly blink, when it blinks rapidly, you disconnect it, and next time when you connect it, it will boot up in the next mode. So no LED is blinking, and it means it's in-ear monitors mode, if I remember right. So I will add a link to the official site in the description. So there are 4 modes here. You switch them by disconnecting this gadget. Not the most convenient way, of course, but there is no buttons, so it's the only way to do that. Luckily, in their next device, Power.Fi, they add third-party. They add Bluetooth to control modes, and you can switch it using the mobile application. But in this device, you need to reconnect it and disconnect. So there are 4 modes here. Basic one, it's about 300 milliwatts for 32 ohms load. Powerful one, boost mode, or how it's called, power mode, which drastically increase power, but actually not all devices support it, and actually no iOS device can output enough power to drive it, and many Android devices also can't power it properly in this mode. Third mode is so-called SE mode, so it's increasing the second harmonics, giving a kind of tubey sound, but to be honest, I'm not a fan of this mode. It's not tube sound, it's warming sound a little bit, but it makes it a bit not natural. And the fourth mode that was added in second version, it's the in-ear monitors mode. It's mode with reduced price and reduced volume to use with sensitive in-ear monitors. And actually it's the most useful mode, I think, and it should be placed as a second one. So here it is. All you need now is to connect headphones and start player and enjoy listening to the music. And of course about the sound, so we need some source. It will be M11 Pro. We need some in-ear monitors. It's IMR RA, and of course E1DA itself. So I'm not sure is version 1 available somewhere, but I definitely recommend you to pay attention and get version 2. First, because it has a soft start feature that allows using it with smartphones without additional splitter and additional power bank, because this device is powerful, and for example in power mode it won't boot up successfully with many smartphones, so it will require Y splitter, so it's a special USB cable with separate power, and power bank, so not the most convenient desktop setup. And second version is more mobile friendly. It supports fast boot, and also it has a special in-ear monitors mode that has less power, and it's a really nice feature to have, because otherwise it's too powerful with in-ear monitor, with many in-ear monitors. Also keep in mind that this adapter doesn't have its own built-in volume control, so you'll have to use some player that has digital volume control. For when you use it with macOS, for example, use Odirvana to control the volume, because macOS itself doesn't support that, and actually it's not really convenient. There are some hacks to use it using Soundflower app or some other patches, but it's not really convenient. So if you're going to use device with Mac, probably it's better to get Power.Fi. It has its own volume control. And with smartphones you need to use the player that supports digital volume control. For example, with UAPP don't turn on bit perfect mode, because in bit perfect mode your app doesn't use volume control, and that's not what you'd like to have with it. So it's loud, it's powerful, and actually it's not the perfect choice for sensitive in-ear monitors. Even with this IEM mode, it has a bit of background noise sometimes, but at least I've heard kind of rippling sounds time to time when it's quiet. Not a big issue, but it's sometimes it's audible. With not super sensitive in-ear monitors, I got zero issues actually. So what about the sound? You know, a short story first. Some time ago, it was early 90s, I had a friend who worked in the local auto repair workshop in my native city, and actually, you know, it was really fun times, and it was so regular owner of auto repair shop was one of the richest persons in the city, and he spent really a lot of money. He got the body of Soviet Lada car, and he put there some really powerful engine. And then everyone was really surprised when old, almost rusty car reached 100 kilometers per hour in few seconds. So it was a nice and really educating experience for many street racers. Anyway, why I remember this story? Because this device is really powerful, and you don't expect so powerful output from a tiny device. So if you want to drive some tough to drive planars, for example, of course not Abyss or not HE6, but something like I don't know, HE400 or something like that, it's really nice option. So it's powerful, it's natural, it's resolving, and that's actually what you can expect from it. Absolutely natural and monitoring, and actually that's what I can say about it. And I can close the sound review part, but of course everyone would like a bit more details. So bass goes deep, it's controlled perfectly, absolutely perfectly, you know, thanks to this power. No issues with pump, with rumble, with kicks, so everything is present. Really good resolution, really good depth, nice control all over the whole sonic spectrum, and really good texturing, but sometimes, really rarely, I miss a bit of weight on the low frequencies, comparing with much more expensive gear, of course, but still, if we speaking about this device as a killer of everything, so I need to admit all the things that I heard with it. So sometimes it's lacking a bit of weight because of its speed. Sometimes it's well, maybe not too fast, but a bit faster than it's necessary, and sometimes it's lacking a bit of weight, but actually it's probably it's not probably, it's much better than if it would be otherwise, and if it lacked resolution, adding more weight, because you can always use some bassier headphones. So, and as example for the low frequencies, I've got Niechęć. I really like the Polish jazz scene, and Niechęć is a great representative, and it's really nice, interesting, impressive avant-garde jazz music. And Krew, I suppose I pronounce it correctly. I watched some Polish introduction lesson on the YouTube, and probably it's one of the hardest Slavic languages in terms of pronunciation. It's well, maybe it's definitely harder than Russian, Ukrainian, and Serbian that I know. So anyway, sorry for the off topic. So nice avant-garde jazz, and it has really engaging bass line, and it has some big drum, and these parts require nice, well-controlled low frequencies, and this tiny device definitely gives that. So, mids are also done in similar way, total, natural, bit leaning towards the natural and monitoring side, so it requires good material. If something is recorded poorly, it will be played this way, so no attempts to add some emotions, to minimize some issues, so everything that is present in the record you will have, and that's probably typical for Sabre and typical for this device, so no mercy for the poor records, but anyway, with good records you will have the airness, you will have the emotions, tiny nuances, smallest details, and so on, so forth, and all other stuff like that. In terms of staging, it's above average both in width and in depth, so it's pretty good in terms of three-dimensional positioning, but it's not highlighting or exaggerating the stage, so tracks should be recorded and mastered in really good way too. And as an example for the mid frequencies, what I've got, yep, it's the Mars Volta, actually example of not perfectly recorded album, but more or less acceptable, not perfect, but like normal. So, and why I selected this album, because of the vocal. I really like Mars Volta's vocalist, and I really like that emotions, I really like his singing style, and E1DA really shines with this mids due to great resolution, showing all the tiniest nuances. And treble is also a bit on the drier side, but not as thin as metallic as sometimes some Sabre digital tonal converter sounding. It has good extension, noticeably above average, basic layering, but it's still pretty okay results, even great results for the price and for the size. Nice saturation of overtones and good control, so really good treble with nice attacks and decays, but it's not trying to hide the treble, of course, so if you're treble sensitive you need to find some in-ear monitors that soften treble a little bit if you want to use E1DA. And as an example, it's yet another track from the album that I mentioned some time ago. It's Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington, The Great Summit and Drop Me Off in Harlem, and it has really nice, good, lifelike percussion, and this digital tonal converter is really great with it. In terms of power, I already mentioned that it's powerful, and it even has more powerful mode, so no issues with driving tough to drive headphones. The probably issue that you can have, it's if your host, if your smartphone or other transport won't be able to provide enough of power, but in the regular or in-ear monitors I didn't have issues. What else? With sensitive in-ear monitors it's more or less acceptable, but with the most sensitive I've got a bit of background noise, so keep it in mind. And once again, to summarize, natural monitoring representation, pretty critical to the quality of record, but with enough of driving power and really good control. And of course, speaking about the compressions, I think there is only one compression that could be done and that make any sense. It's iBasso DC01. So, well, this one is a bit better than iBasso DC01. Well, maybe not a bit, difference isn't huge. It's not minor, it's not huge, it's somewhere like medium difference or a bit below the average difference, so it's hard to express it. So noticeably different, noticeably better, bit more resolving and a bit tighter on the low frequencies and with a bit better treble control. But at the same time, iBasso has a separate volume control application, and it has less issues with power driving, but of course it doesn't have all that 4 modes. So in some cases I probably could prefer iBasso, but if you're interested in totally absolutely best performance in terms of technicality, in terms of resolution and all other stuff like that, of course E1DA will be your choice. But please keep in mind that it's device that is done without any compromise, so it has a few pretty noticeable issues like volume control, mode switching, background noise with sensitive in-ear monitors, and so on. But still, there is a proverb in Russian community: audiophiles should suffer, and it's the case when you'll get a bit of suffer in exchange for the good sound. Is it actually mid-range dub killer? No, it's not. It's really good, but mid-range dubs offers a bit better weight, for example DX 160, and for me better sound, it's not only about resolution, but it requires to be with proper weight balance and not too analytical, actually with proper accents and so on. So it's not a killer of mid and upper range dubs like someone say. Maybe some will throw some tomatoes or spoiled eggs to me, but it's just my opinion. But it's definitely a really great device. I'm waiting for the power DAC that I've bought, and I will review it too. So my experience with this tiny device was really positive and fun. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.